Good evening. You are tuned into Outside the Box, the show that gives you the opportunity to interact with political party candidates. As Yela mentioned, all registered parties have been invited to be part of this show. Queries have been raised on the participation of candidates from the Fiji First Party. We have sent numerous invites to the Fiji First Party and are awaiting their response. To our daily poll now, last Friday's question was, should the FNPF pension scheme be revised? 83.13% responded yes, while 7.22% disagreed. Today's question is, should the right sizing of the civil service continue after elections? Text your answer, a simple yes or no, to 3592. The poll is opened to Vodafone, Digicel, and Ink users. Charges apply. Joining us tonight on the show is Sitiveni Kalou, the One Fiji Party. From the One Fiji Party, we also serves as a General Secretary. Mr. Kalou, welcome to the show. Now, Mr. Kalou, the name Kalou is not strange in the political arena. Your dad was once a politician?
Yes, he was. He served as a member of parliament, I think from 87.
He served for the Fiji Labour Party?
Yes, three terms with the Fiji Labour Party and I think one with the SVT.
Did that inspire you to become a politician?
Yes, it did. That and other things as well.
Okay, so you're not strange to this. So you're prepared for these elections?
I'd like to think that I'm prepared.
All right. Now, your party is only fielding 14 candidates from yes. the 20 earlier mentioned by the party. Why is that?
Well, we had, as you had mentioned, because we had wanted to field at least 20. But when we were at the deadline today, we had 14 to nominate. But I think that we can make an impact with that 14.
Was it hard to find people?
Not so much. It's just that time was a factor. The fact that there were some candidates who were not based in Suva.
Were people forthcoming, wanting to stand for the party? Or was it a problem?
Well, we purposely did not have time to advertise publicly, so that could be a factor as well.
Okay, now your party was launched last week by the leader, and one of the issues there was your party don't totally agree with the land bank concept. Tell us more about that.
We feel that the concept puts the landowner at a disadvantage, whilst the initially it will look like the landowner is deriving a lot of benefits as opposed to the other setup. But the landowner is alienated over 3 generations from their land.
Okay. And do you think they're secure?
Sorry?
Under the current concept of the land bank, do you think the land ownership or landowners are secure in that, do you think? What is your party's view on that?
Well, the fact is we have consulted with some people some landowners who have their land in the land bank. And one of the worrying things is that they don't even have access. They're not even allowed to step on their land, and I think the question that needs to be asked is, well, it needs to be asked of the landowners who are in the land bank, and I think you'll find that for most of them, they're probably regretting their decision.
Any better option than this the party is offering?
The party is advocating better participation by the landowner in that they derive maximum benefit from their land. So we have some ideas that will be.
What are those?
I'll wait for the manifesto has not been officially launched.
Okay, so you're not revealing this until the manifesto comes out. Why is that? I mean, somebody might steal it, steal the idea, or?
Well, I don't want to comment on that.
All right,
probably.
Okay, so you just wait for the right time.
Yes.
All right. Now, another issue that came up in your party leader's speech was basically the concern on common name. Right? Your party doesn't totally agree with the common name.
You'll find that a vast number of people in Fiji do not or are not ready, or probably refuse to embrace the concept of a common name. It's probably it's just a superficial thing.
Do you think indigenous Fijians are ready for a common name? And other races also, Indo-Fijians of different ethnic backgrounds?
Well, most of them, a lot of the people, I wouldn't say most, but a lot of people have indicated that, you know, that they're not ready to accept it. Yeah. From both of the major races.
Mr. Kalou, Paula is on the line from Teteruan. Paula.
The question is just have a multi-criteria analysis as part of your land bank. Would that be all right for you guys? Multi-criteria analysis for land bank.
The question is, what is the criteria for land bank?
We do not support.
You do not support the land bank outright.
Yes.
Not supporting it. Okay. Maybe that's clear to the caller who's called in just a short while ago. Now, pressing issues of youths. I think your party is focused on youths. Has your party being able to identify pressing issues that are affecting the youths of today, and what are the solutions to those?
We believe that the youth of Fiji are ready to have a more meaningful participation in processes of government, and they already show that in the things and the activities and the organizations that they are part of. So.
Now, Mr. Kalou, thank you so much. And stay with us. Joining us next is Josaia TJ Loloma, widely known as TJ from the People's Democratic Party. Welcome back. Join our discussion live tonight by texting in your questions to 3599 or call our studio line 330-2100. And remember, you can have your say in our daily poll. The question is still, should the right sizing of the civil service continue after the election? Simply text yes or no to 3592 to all Vodafone, TTCell, and Ink users. We are now joined by Josaia Loloma, from the People's Democratic Party. Another name many are not familiar with. Mr. Loloma, tell us about yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Longa. It's Josaia TJ Loloma. Yes, I'm from Batiki, Lomebiti, and representing the Northern Division, young people.
All right, good. Now, you're here to discuss issues focused on your campaign, which is poor and youths. Maybe let me begin asking this question from one of our viewers tonight who's texting and answer a question. If PDP doesn't get into Parliament, now what happens to the manifesto, the promises that are within the manifesto? What happens to those if none of you make it into Parliament?
Mr. Longa, like we've said, we're still passionate about going into Parliament, and we know we will get into Parliament. We're here to be the voice of the people to Parliament, and there is no question about that.
What makes you think that people will vote PDP candidates into Parliament?
Right now, People's Democratic Party, we have come up with our manifesto, and clearly in our manifesto, we represent we're starting from minorities to every areas of our citizens of this nation.
Racial discrimination is another caller or another viewer is texting in. You know, how would you resolve those, and what's your views on it?
Mr. Longa, there shouldn't be any racial discrimination.
Are you saying it's happening in the country?
Well, right now, like, you know, we look at things, we look at the way it's going right now. Everyone seems to be going in different direction. The last thing that we need right now is a nation that is going in different directions.
Do you think the common name of Fijian has resolved that?
Well, the common name of Fijian has to go back to the people. People's Democratic Party believe that the common name Fijian has to go back to the people. You know, Fiji citizens are not given the opportunity. They're not given the opportunity to express their point of view, to express their feelings, to express how they feel that this nation should be run. And I believe that our manifesto, is for everyone, and not only me. I stand on behalf of People's Democratic Party to be the voice of every citizen, regardless of faith, regardless of religion, regardless of ethnicity, or whatever background they may fall under.
Back to the earlier question, does discrimination still exist in the country?
Right now, Mr. Longa, yes, there is discrimination. Discrimination in terms of, when you talk about discrimination, you talk about the neglect of the poor. You talk about the neglect of youth voice. Young people, youth voice, youths of today, they're forgotten. They have been forgotten for almost as long as I can.
So you're saying discrimination in all aspects, in different aspects?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I think you haven't answered the question, racial discrimination. Does that still exist in the country?
When we look at the way it's going right now, I still feel that there is discrimination in terms of in terms of race. When we're coming into bringing the nation together, there has to be one voice. Yes, there has to be one voice. We see denomination. Talk about we see denomination going in different directions. We see and then we see faith-based organization going in different direction. We see marginalized groups not recognized. We see the poor suffering, and we see young people, youth voice, the young people, the youths of this nation, who we continually say the leaders of today or the leaders of tomorrow, not given the opportunity to express their point of view. We need to give it to them.
There's a call on the line from here in Suva. Good evening to you, caller.
Good evening, Ningula. I want to ask a question to Mr. Loloma. The question is, our youth of today is now a political class. Do you think that they are liberty to do their own decision and vote, or are they influenced by their parents and friends? Thank you.
Yeah, did you hear the question? The question, are youths of today, do you think they are able to make decisions independently, or they are still influenced by their parents?
I believe that it's a collaboration of view. I still believe that the youths of today can make the decisions.
Are they making the decisions? Are they making their own decisions, do you think? Or they are still being influenced by the parents?
They need to be given the opportunity to make the decisions.
Okay.
Yes. One thing that is actually the youths miss out today is, number one, they're not given the opportunity to raise their issues and concerns. And number two, youth organizations in this nation here need to be recognized. And one of the issues that is actually happening to youth organizations all over Fiji right now is, number one, visitation. They are not visited. And number two, actually they are not given the opportunity to be part of the strategic planning in terms of their voices. During my time as a youth leader, I have seen actually youth organizations suffering. Number one, they suffer because they're not part of the economical development in a big way. And number two, the dissemination of information to them.
In other words, you're saying they have been left out in all the decision making?
They've been left out.
From home to every level up to government?
Yes. Yes, we need to hear from them. We need to hear, youths have great capacity in terms of making decisions, in terms of when you give them the opportunity, they are able to make yes, very important decisions, not only for themselves, not only for their families, they're able to make decisions for the nation.
Mr. Loloma, there's a question that's come in from one of our viewers. What is your view on the humanity clause in our 2013 Constitution? Things that covers the issue, the area of humanity. What do you think?
I still believe that, and People's Democratic Party believes that everyone needs to be given the opportunity. Yes. Everyone.
This includes the poor.
and that includes the poor. Oh yes, big time includes the poor. Yes, right now the poor, mainly in the squatter settlements, right now we have little children running to the mangrove swamps because they don't have proper latrines, proper toilets. You know, they don't have food.
And you can change that if you come into parliament.
Yes.
When you come into parliament, in the next parliament, you definitely will change that?
Yes.
It's not easy.
My heart is for the poor. My heart is for the poor, and my heart is actually for the young people of today. We need to do big-time development projects for young people, for the youths of today, and actually help the poor.
Thank you, Mr. Loloma. Our time is up. In our final segment, we speak to Nayagodamu Korovou from the Fiji United Freedom Party. Welcome back. Remember, you can join the discussion live by texting in your questions to 3599 or call our studio line 330-2100. We are now joined by Nayagodamu Korovou from the Fiji United Freedom Party. It's a new political party that feels it can make the ultimate difference. Let's find out. Good evening, Mr. Nayagodamu.
Good evening, Mr. Longa.
Right. Now, party symbol is banana. Why? You know, from your perspective as an indigenous Fijian, why use banana as a party symbol?
We want to create unity, and we want everybody to be part of the banana. So that means we are all Fijians, so we are all equal.
So banana demonstrates what? Unity?
Unity.
In what sense?
In a sense that we are all equal. Like we are saying, we are all Fijian, so it means that we have to be equal in some way, in forms of development, in forms of everything. So that's why we have the banana.
Okay. Now let's continue our discussion with a call on the line. Camila from Nandi and Bulbina. Camila?
Yes,
Camila. Yes. Bulbina Camilo.
Iyo ni Mbulvinaka, Mr. Longa. I was actually trying to call in for the previous candidate, but this would be posed to all parliamentarians. They seem to be saying that when they get into parliament, they'll make changes. Why don't they make changes now instead of waiting to be in parliament and help the poor and the people at large in Nolo, Fiji, Vinaka?
Yeah, I think the question for Mr. Camilo is, all the politicians are coming into the show, and maybe they're saying to all media outlets that they will make changes when they go into parliament. Mr. Camilo's question to you today: why not make the changes now before going into parliament?
Yeah, what we see is when we go to parliament, we have a greater force in the voice that we're going to say for the things that we have to say. But for us, we know that everything that we say is just proposed, because we know that this constitution will not allow things to happen easily. In fact, there's the record of the parliament to agree and the record of the voters to agree for things to change.
Now, Mr. Korovou, your party on Great Council of Chiefs,
yeah,
it is a different type of concept to that. Huh? Tell us more about that.
Okay, what we see, Mr. Longa, that we want to improve on the things that we have now. See, we have things then that we should not put away, but we can find more ideas to add on to it and improve it. Like Great Council of Chiefs, we want to set it up in different province. Like we are proposing that there should be 14 ministers in each province that should look after the province, and chiefs will be responsible for the development of that province.
Okay. So any chief, or they be paramount chiefs?
All chiefs. All chiefs. That means the Turang Niabusa and all these people.
All right. Okay. Just take a call from David from Suva,
okay,
and then we'll continue on the
Thank you.
Bulabanaka, David.
Bulabanaka, gentlemen. My name is David, and I would like to pose a question to Mr. Nayagodamu. In today's Fiji Sun, you mentioned that your party, the Fiji United Freedom Party, believed in an independent judiciary. Please explain to us, how will you do that? Will you recruit saints or exam-based recruitment or some? What can you explain, please?
Yeah, I think David caller, our guest tonight, is asking, your party is saying in the papers today it will push for an independent judiciary. The question is posing to you tonight is how are you going to do that?
I think independent judiciary is something that is very important in our development as a nation. What we mentioned today is with independent judiciary, then we have investor confidence to come in and invest in this country.
Okay. Let's get back to the earlier issue. You're saying chiefs to be head of the 14 provinces. So that's your concept of Grand Council of Chiefs. Now the question is, what happens then to the commissioners? You know, we have Commissioner Central, Commissioner Eastern, Commissioner Northern. Okay. If that happens, then what happens to those positions?
What we are proposing is to remove all commissioners. We're looking at in the development of the SADAs.
The chiefs will take on those positions.
Will take on those development.
So in other words, we'll have 14 commissioners altogether.
Yeah, we have 14 ministers.
Okay.
And then we have a group of chiefs in that province that have to be involved in the development of their province. Rather than involving the national level in the GCC, only few of them. Now all of them will be involved.
So the Council of Chiefs, that's you will do away with that? You will take on that?
I think so.
And you think that's effective?
I think so, Mr. Longa. To be honest, all political parties that are saying that they will bring back the Great Council of Chiefs.
And do you think voters out there will support your party for that idea?
I think so, because bringing back the Great Council of Chiefs won't be possible right now. It is a non-negotiable principle in the 2013 Constitution. So we better work our way, we have to look for other ways where they can be involved.
This is a text from one of our viewers.
Okay.
He's saying that your party started with a focus on youth. It first started as a youth party, and only changed to a Fiji United Freedom Party. Why the change?
The National Youth Party was winding up in court just in the last minute, and that's why. But we really believe in our youth, that they can be a force in our development of the nation.
Secular state. Do you agree with secular state?
Secular state is we've been saying that is the highest form of a Christian state. Okay. In the sense that when we give the people the freedom to choose, they will be able to worship that God that they believe in, in the right way.
For example, on secular state, we had the head of the Catholic Church speaking to us last Friday. Yeah. And we ran that on news. He's a bit concerned about the secular state issue because basically it owns more Catholic schools around the country. And what has happened, because they run religious education in schools, and that has been affected by the reduction of the number of Catholic teachers in schools, to 5 or 3 in a school, and that's affected it.
Right.
What do you think that?
I don't see secular state as a problem here in the country. If we take it from the positive side, whether in school or whether in public, what school should do is to encourage people through enrollment. And that if you come to the school, then you should be involved in this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Korovou. That's time is up for us. And that's all for tonight. Tune in again tomorrow to view the results of our poll. Remember, you can still text in your answers. The question line will be open until 6 p.m. tomorrow. Again, the question is, should the right sizing of the civil service continue after elections? Text in your answer yes or no to 3592. Join me again tomorrow as we continue our extensive coverage heading into the elections. Good evening.